root, but I mean, that's the guys that get, they finish first. So the kind of guys who finish first. Nice guys finish last. We make sure you finish first. Maybe we want to finish last. See, do you see that? Do you hear that local color? The clack and the roar of the subway. You can't get that kind of atmosphere on a green screen. You can't get that atmosphere in Pittsburgh or Vancouver. You had to come to the canyons here. The real canyons. Not the Bret Easton Ellis canyons. Okay, so anyway, thought it was time to go live. There's some things I wanted to talk about. WrestleMania. I want to trash WrestleMania Night 2, which I watched for free on TikTok, on the Chinese app, the Chinese Spy app. And then, okay, I want to address some recent allegations and just talk about the open mic, obviously, because it's my thing, and I'm obsessed, and it's probably the thing that most people know me from, and it's at the open mic I don't always have a lot of time to address specifics of what's going on, this and that. So this is a place where, for people who might be interested, can listen at length to my yapping. I mean, this is the future's already here. Everybody's yapping. Are you not on TikTok yapping? Because you should get on TikTok and start yapping right now. Everybody's doing it. Look at my goddamn selfie stick. Grown man walking around with a fucking selfie stick. Do you believe it? Not to gender it or anything. Okay, so I do want to address the allegations and just talk about the open mic in general. So it was a huge week for me, actually. Kind of a life-changing victory of a week. And I didn't even have to do anything. I love Paragon Sports Company right here. Talk about, this live stream is brought to you by Paragon Sports Company. I don't know, it's just, that's that old New York. There's not too much of that kind of shit left, so we got to keep that kind of stuff alive. Paragon Sports. The paragon of good sportsmanship. Sportspersonship. What is that? Fucking the heat is on. The guys listen to Glenn Frey, Heat is on. I think he's singing it. See, that's what I wanted to do a couple years ago. I wanted to get just a mobile kind of microphone so you could just ride on my scooter performing all over New York as I'm riding my scooter. Do monologues. Do this basically on my scooter, but like with a microphone. Which way do I want to go? Maybe I'll go this way. I kind of want to go down Fifth Avenue. I want to get more of the kind of sculptural altitude New York. I'm typically down in the West Village. So, I'm kind of digging this part of Manhattan a little bit. This part of Manhattan is very interesting, actually, between 14th Street and Madison Square. It's kind of like you can see the skyscrapers kind of develop here. As it gets a little taller, and then Midtown, it just kind of explodes. But Flatiron Building, right, was like the first skyscraper in New York. And it's like on 23rd Street, it's not really. And then boom, 34th Street, you got Empire State Building. The original Macy's, a lot of the original department stores were over here on 6th Avenue, 7th Avenue. Yeah, so we're live streaming to thousands of people here from the streets. People all over the world are tuning in to this moment at the H&M store on 5th Avenue. So anyway, okay, with the open mic, how do I want to say this? Oh, because on the train on the way over here. Well, it's just, okay, to address the comedy, let's start by just talking about comedy, I guess. That'll be a good place to start. Well, okay, because the comedians, one thing I've noticed is they are super protective of their territory on the mic, which I understand because they don't want to, people do have to listen to what you're saying, and you are trying to kind of thread the needle of people's concentration or something. And as the comedian, honestly, a lot of what your job is to just kind of be the ringmaster of the energy in the room and kind of just like kind of guide people and tell them, make it comfortable for them. You have to make them laugh and lead the kind of group think. A lot of the skill set of being a stand-up comedian is not necessarily about, obviously it'd be better if comedians were funny, but a lot of the comedians that I see, it's like you can make a life as a stand-up comedian if you just develop certain skills. You don't even, so, okay. So they get mean with the audience. A lot of them will tell the audience to shut up or, and that can be funny and fun. I'm not completely against that, but it's just kind of surprising how quickly it gets kind of mean, and they just feel like they have to like totally body whoever comes after them, or they'll just come after me or somebody else. They'll make fun of somebody's fucking poetry or something. It's like they seem like predatory in that way. There's like a meanness to the overall comedy thing that I wasn't really expecting, and I don't really understand. I kind of get roasting, and I kind of get, there's definitely a place for like truth telling. That's one reason why I think it's important to have the comedy, because it's like, a lot of times they will say something that's true that maybe, the truth can be mean sometimes. But that doesn't mean just because something is mean, it's like the truth, or it's like a good, like why just fucking make fun of people? There's this poetry or like an art to like roasting and insult comedy, and I get that. But we're walking up Fifth Avenue here. No, because I am going to talk about this. I am going to get into this. I just don't get it. And so with the open mic, okay, I get comedians who, first of all, they're the most aggressive about wanting to go up. And it's ridiculous because they all sign up like the day of. That's, that makes it hard for me. Because if they're going to be mean to the audience and potentially ruin the show or stop the show cold or like prevent people from coming back, they spend the least money. They're mean to the audience and they're rarely funny. So what's the incentive, right? To put them up in the middle, they sign up the day of or they walk in. And like, I'm sympathetic to that, and I want people to be talented. I want to help people be talented and do their best. But it's like, if you're coming out, you're not bringing any people, you're not spending any money, you sign up the day of, you want to go up early, you're going to bother me about it. Or, it's like, they want to sign up super early for the next week, which they think, and like, I want to put people on early to get them exposure and shit. But if you're going to be mean to the audience, and if you're not funny, and if you're a white guy particularly, it's like there's not a lot of incentive. I can't put you up, in the prime of the thing week after week after week, because I know that like poetry people don't like it. It's a very different crowd. They're sensitive. They're woke. They need a safe atmosphere. And I want to promote vulnerability and deep sharing. I'm frustrated that the comedians do not come with better fucking material and more sophisticated things to say and a more sophisticated point. Not all of them. I like them a lot as people. And I get along with a lot of them as people. And they're a huge part of the show. Like, I'm not trying to discourage anybody from coming out. I'm just trying to, like, explicate and sort of talk through the algorithm here for people, okay? Because there is an algorithm that decides it's an open mic, but the number one priority is to do a good show, because that's what gets people talking and that's what gets people coming back. It helps if you have a community of people who want to come every week, and it's like their fucking thing that they get excited about, that's been a little harder for me to hold on to the last year because of my personal life, which, you know, is also a big part of the show, unfortunately. And people want to come after me about that, okay? So I got heckled. You know, I'm the fucking host. You know, and the comedians are going to come after me. It's like, what do you think's going to happen? I'm not going to put you up early. You're going to insult me in front of everybody. Like, why? Why be mean about it? You know, like everybody's got a right to say whatever they want to say, but it's like trying to build a community with comedians, with poets, with musicians. They do kind of stay in their own little worlds, to be honest, for the most part. Yeah, that's right. We're on Broadway, and I think I'm on 22nd. So got some nice trees in bloom and shit here. Well, I'm bitching about comedy. Yeah, so I would say the number one complaint or criticism about the open mic is it's bad comedy. There's too many bad comedians who make incredibly offensive jokes and are mean. Oh, and they don't spend any money. And they don't bring anybody. They're just kind of predatory about women, is how it seems to me. You know, they know that it's not like the open mics. They've made jokes about how, like, whoops, they want to sleep with hot poetry chicks or whatever. I can tell, like, that's the appeal for them. You don't find that at open mics because they're mean. You don't find that at comedy open mics. Okay, so the big change for me was I'm finally going to get a percentage of the sales. And so I'm going to get paid every week now. That's a huge change for me. And honestly, one reason why the last year has been what it has been, because I don't have a financial leg to stand on. You know, it's like sometimes I get paid, sometimes I don't. So I might average $800 a month in income or something. I'm a zombie walker. That's right. I got my fucking selfie stick. I'm explaining personal life things to people in my personal life. So tune in. So these comedians, right? Well, the guy accused me of filming the open mic because I want to sleep with the women or something, or like I'm taking pictures of them because like I'm trying to like look at it or something, which like okay. Well, thanks for watching. Which is not at all, you know, there's no way, shape, or form that, you know, I film it because it's a show, and I want, you know, it's like it's supposed to be a live fucking broadcast from New York, you know? We're trying to make it fucking a good fucking show and get an audience. You know, you're AI. Are you part of the dead internet? Are you a bot? Have I finally got bots in my comments? That's what I really need. I need a bot audience. This is Park Avenue right here. You may have heard of it, okay? People out in Podunk, middle of nowhere. This is New York City, okay? We're on fucking Park Avenue. Las Vegas, holy shit. You're in Las Vegas, huh? Wow, okay. Well, welcome to the Big Apple. Here we go. It's totally banal. It's totally generic, corporate, homogenized, boring. The art of sushi right here. You may have heard of it. Okay, so anyway. No, I do want to unpack this. I'm very all over the place, and I don't know Cash Jordan, okay? I know who he is. During the pandemic, I thought, when I get back to New York, I'm going to be like Cash Jordan. I'm going to have, 600,000 views on my fucking New York City apartment videos. The thing is, it's so formulaic. It's all like, New York City is done forever. Guys, they finally did it. Migrants have to leave New York in 30 days. Guys, New York is over. Here's why. If I wanted to make vibey fucking like GoPro videos of, I don't know, that's not what I do, okay? It's meant to be kind of earthy and Whitman-esque and like nude. It's meant to be unfurling and kind of au naturel. I hate how produced and it's all formula. It's all clickbait. You have to have the right fucking, thumbnail. You have to have the right fucking, that's right. Somebody's got to be raw. You can be raw. You can do whatever you want. You don't have to have hey, here I boiled down some Foucault for you. I made a 20-minute think philosophy video or whatever. Me, I'm just rambling all over the place. For strange randos on the internet. Raw, I'm not really a comedian. That's part of, a lot of people are comedians. Being a stand-up comedian is a skill set in and of itself. And I'm just frustrated at how, like, brutal and just, like, bad energy. It's just bad energy. A lot of it is just bad. It's people trying to sell fucked up points of view. They want to have sex with their cousin, or, they have some fucked up opinion about this or that. It's like, Jesus Christ, you people do need therapy. And I love laughing. I love the form. There's a lot of stand-up comedy that I do enjoy. That's why I'm like baffled. I'm like, why is there nobody that's like doing anything artistic with this? Everybody just wants to talk about their dating life or some kind of gross fucking, oh God. It's just not funny. It's just like, you don't have to have material. Be funny. Try to figure out how to be funny. The thing about having a sense of humor is it is like a sense. It's like you can feel when something's funny. Like Spidey sense. You feel, like there's sort of like, that's what the talent is. There's like this fucking like having a sense and just like being able to do that. And don't get me wrong, I know there's a lot of very fucking talented, very brilliant, genius fucking comedians that come to the open mic. And they might even make fun of me, That's a frustration I do have with poetry, is like, I wish they were a little tougher. Like, it's not going to kill you. The guy's not, they're not going to come after you. I mean, I don't know. I'm sensitive. Here I am live streaming about it. Here I am like fucking, trying to fix this or control the narrative. The thing is, okay, part of what this is about is like, welcome to New York. This is Gramercy Park. It's illegal. You can't even go there. You have to have like a key card or something. I'm not Cash Jordan, so I can't get in, okay? I'm just a loser. Somehow 4 people are watching my stream. Thanks for watching. It's because it's New York. People want to see New York. They don't want to hear me bitch about. Yeah, I do wish, but the comedians are like, they're not delivering on like a level that like the poets deserve and are used to. If you look at the average content of a poetry reading, yeah, Village Voice, that's right. It got bought like everything by some kind of private equity thing, and they publish it, I think, from time to time, but it's over. It's over. Let me tell you personally, okay? New York is over. Unless you're rich, it's too late. Or I don't know, you go to Brooklyn. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to live in Brooklyn or Queens, that's one thing. Like, you can definitely like participate in New York, and New York still is like, a vibrant fucking cultural like powerhouse. There's no question. It doesn't dominate the world art landscape like it did. In the middle of the 20th century, New York was like the singular art fucking capital where everybody who mattered sort of, but it's now there's a number of different places. There's Emily in Paris. China is, everything's online, right? So the places are kind of like divested. They're diluted of their fucking in-person meaning. And I mean, New York is just, don't get me wrong. Everybody who has a New York dream should still come here. Absolutely. But I've been thinking a lot about, I'm 40. When I moved here in 2010, this article had just come out Patty Smith says, New York is no longer the place for artists. Go to Detroit. Do not come to New York. My mom like shared it. You're 60, all right. Thanks for watching, Rob VT. Yeah, Patty Smith says, do not come to New York. It's not the place for artists. And to be honest, I don't think there would have been a better place. I mean, if I wanted to get rich or something, I would have moved to San Francisco, you know, or maybe Austin. Austin, if you would have moved there in 2005 or something, you could have made a lot of fucking money. If that's what you were into. Even in my hometown, I could have made a lot of money. You know, I could have bought a fucking house maybe in 2010 or something if I wanted to. But I didn't. You know, I still think that
You'll sell from here.
well, New York, especially if you got the money. You know, the thing is, everything is super expensive here as far as just like if you want to participate in taking acting classes or, you know, I mean, even rent. I was looking at places today, it's like $13.50 for just like a totally, well, the thing about New York is like you are in, I mean, we are in definitely like the last breaths of the dying greatness that was the 20th century here. And there is a new thing that's rising here. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's exciting, and like New York is still super vibrant and super active. I mean, I think just like everything, the music is just worse everywhere. It's like no one has time. Everything, we're inundated with these sort of micro content things that don't really matter. No one is like spending time to make like a masterpiece. Nobody has time. You know, there's just too much information, there's too much stimulation, there's too much short-term, Gerald Salente, there's too much immediate gratification. You know, there's too much short-term validation. And, you know, in New York, it's like, okay, with comedy, it's like there is this unbelievable open mic community. You know, there's still communities. There's an unbelievable poetry community, which I do think is like essential. You know, even though we're moving into like a virtual Kingston. Yeah, Kingston. Oh, yeah. Well, everybody that lived in fucking New York when it was cool moved upstate. You know, everybody, like Kramer. You know, if Kramer fucking lived in New York, he would have moved in probably shortly after 9/11. You know, that texture of just like the weird, arty New York, it's much different now. It's more like a fucking Target. You know, everybody's wearing athleisure. Everybody's kind of like a normie, like gym bro. You know, it's all about, it's just like a big fraternity, actually. Ashley's on. Do not hunt me down, okay? Do not find me. Okay, good. Ashley's gonna bombard the comments, everybody. Yeah, so we're talking about New York. And, oh, God, I'm really not addressing this this thing I wanted to talk about very well, I guess. You know, because I'm not, it's just like, you know, the comedians, like, don't you want the audience on your side? You know, I don't know. There's definitely something to be said for being confrontational and nipping things in the bud. And I think the audience does want to, like, kick it around. Okay. Newman. Yeah, Newman. I mean, do people like Newman might still live in New York. I wouldn't be surprised. He had a post office job. He's probably got his rent control shit. Newman was a weirdo, but like, he was also like a bureaucrat. You know, Kramer was truly an eccentric. That's what I mean. It's like the eccentric New York does not. I mean, there's rich people that kind of do that, like there has always been. You know, not that New York hasn't always had rich art people. You know, like that's always been, you know, a key ingredient and shit. But now I just see everybody looks like Jacob Elordi. They dress like fucking Darth Vader or like Hayden Christensen, Anakin Skywalker. It's a hell of a time to be alive. Okay, Ashley, we'll see you in a little while. Okay? See, okay, so this is part of the dynamic at the open mic that I think makes it weird for people, or like, you know, the part that like makes me look like a fucking monster. I'll leave, just let me know. I'll see you tonight, okay? Okay, Ashley, see you in a little while. Because I either look like just like a abusive man, or a guy who has weak boundaries, can't control his shit. Yeah, I see you there. I see you, man. I know I'm live streaming, but I am aware of what's going on here. This is a nice little part of town for everybody. Gramercy. It's a nice little. This is where David Lee Roth lives, around here somewhere. I'm not sure where, but I hope to get David Lee Roth at the open mic one day. So yeah, now that I'll be getting sort of paid for it, not that I should talk about that on live stream, but like I can build on that. You know, now I can invest money. You know, I'll have more incentive, right, to see, this is why I typically turn the comments off. Whatever. Yeah, I'll see you in a little while. Okay. Oh boy. I don't know. I'm just trying to do a great show. I do want to be friends with more people. I do want a bigger community. Like I said, my living circumstances make it very hard to do that. You know, I live in the middle of goddamn the flatlands. And Ashley doesn't want me to have any other friends because she gets very jealous. And so she tries to destroy whatever relationships I try to have with anybody. And so it makes me look suspicious because I look like a creep who's like, why is Ashley like getting jealous of everything? Well, it's like, look at the way she comments in the fucking YouTube. You know, it's like, what am I supposed to do? See, everyone else sucks. This is Ashley's attitude. Meanwhile, she has friends. Part of this, okay, is... Oh, God, this all sounds ridiculous. When I came back from the fucking pandemic, I really had to start all over. And I didn't talk to anybody until, like, 2022, basically. You know, whatever friends I had in New York before the pandemic, I'd been in a relationship for 2.5 years, so I was basically starting all over. So I didn't really have a friend fucking group at all, right? And so I met a bunch of people through the open mic, but then when I moved out of that apartment, you know, I had no more control over fucking, Okay, Ashley, thanks for watching. Love you too, okay? Okay. Yes. Okay. Pre-gaming. Oh my God, I look old. I've got like an infection, I think. I don't really know what kind of doctor to see. And so I look like shit. I'm tired. But I think things are, you know, this has given me hope. Now I'm like, okay, even if this live stream is fucking rambling and all over the place, then, I don't know. People are crazy. This woman watching the other day was like super religious. We kept talking about Bible verse. We kept talking about Jesus and shit. I don't know. This guy lives in fucking Vermont or something. I don't know. He's 60 years old. Okay, yeah, you don't have to tolerate cyberbullying. See, everybody loves roasting. Everybody is just mean and they love insulting each other. I think it's a bad culture. I don't know why people are mean and why they think they have to just like... Any thoughts on night 2 of WrestleMania? Yes, okay, I'll talk about WrestleMania. Okay, here's what I will say. The fucking people, I don't know if they're bots or what, but the people in the TikTok comments saying that it was the best main event ever are out of their goddamn minds. I don't know what the fuck they're smoking, but Jesus Christ, I want some of it. If you thought Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns was the best WrestleMania of all time, you are out of your fucking mind. And then they were calling the tag team match the biggest tag team match of all time from night 1, which I don't know what the fuck. I mean, like, granted, I haven't watched wrestling in a long time. I understand Roman Reigns is like a fucking big deal and stuff, but okay, first of all, biggest WrestleMania event of all. Have you not heard of fucking Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant? I mean, that meant something. Okay? That was like a cultural fucking seismic, iconic event. Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant was absolutely like at the fucking Superdome or whatever the fuck it was, the Pontiac Silverdome. Like, that was fucking meaningful. Roman Reigns versus fucking Cody Rhodes, it's like, okay, it's like these dynasties, it's like these new guys that, like I said, a lot of their moves are just like these weird kind of fucking like jumping punch moves and shit. Like Roman Reigns does a spear, or he does this thing where he like puts his fist into the fucking corner and like he's charging up his fist to like jump and punch the guy. It's like, that's not a finishing fucking move. Like, I understand why they did it, because they're trying to not CTE these fucking guys and like Benoit somebody. But like, these moves are a fucking joke. You know, like that curb stomp move or whatever the fuck it is. Like that, or Logan Paul also has a goddamn like running, jumping punch thing. It's like, that shit sucks. Cody Rhodes, the Crossroads thing is kind of cool, but it's like, to me, that's an AEW move. That's like a fucking TNA move. You know, so after the Ruthless Aggression era and like TNA started and fucking AJ and Styles and shit, they started to have all these crazy goddamn moves where you like, you know, lock the guy's fucking like, you know, arms around your fucking knees and then like flip over them and like do a pile driver and shit. It's like, the Crossroads, it's a pretty cool finisher, I guess. But, you know, for the real wrestling nerds, they thought the Undertaker thing was like a huge... And like, don't get me wrong, the Undertaker is Mr. WrestleMania. The bots in the comments seem way more pissed about the Undertaker losing his fucking streak than like anything else that's ever happened. Like, the number one fucking thing that people say in wrestling comments is like, man, the Undertaker's streak, they never should have ended it. It's like, I kind of get that, but it's just weird how meaningful that is to people. And so, okay, overall, I will say, great. You guys are talking to each other in the comments while I talk about WrestleMania. Good. Community. It's all about community. We're making friends here. We're trying to be peaceful. You know, they're selling it like it's a Renaissance era, and it definitely feels like the birth of a new era for sure. But it definitely didn't explode off the TV like I hoped it might. You know, I didn't see anything. If you're a wrestling mark and you've been following it for like the last 20 years, and also if you're like an internet fucking fanboy, like, that's the way I've seen people, like, they love the long form storytelling. Oh, okay, Roman Reigns, like, fucking the dude hit him with a chair or something, so it was like a throwback to that moment. Or there's all these Easter eggs, I guess, if you're like a fucking hardcore wrestling fan and you've been watching it. And I guess that's cool. That's not really what I expected them when they were talking about long form fucking narrative. You know, like, the thing about Attitude Era, and even Hulk Hogan era, is it was very dynamic on TV, you know, like, driving beer trucks into the fucking ring, or even like Hogan, it's like their muscles were huge, the colors were huge, their attitudes, the characters were huge. It's like now these guys are all kind of generic Shawn Michaels, stuntmen, fucking, and I don't know. It's just like they're, when Attitude Era came, they really reinvented the whole look of the whole fucking thing. It's like the announce tables changed. They got those mats at kind of ringside. It's like it's still kind of just that same format. I haven't seen any kind of huge leap forward. And like, I think the booking is smart. Like, it's definitely, you can see one thing leading to another, and then them kind of playing out the storylines in a way that kind of like serves a storyline. But like, anybody that thought that was the greatest main event of all time, like, I didn't even think it was that good of a match. Really, it's like the Undertaker Shawn Michaels match that everybody likes was great. Compared to that, the Ric Flair Shawn Michaels match was great. Dude, remember those fucking TLC matches with the Hardys and the Dudleys? There was a whole synergy that happened with the Attitude Era where ECW kind of fed in, and it played off of WCW. And so, like, it was also an era where they could just break all the fucking rules and go wild. I mean, at that point, tables, ladders, and chairs, that shit was all new. It's like now, it's like that shit's been around for 30 years. Where's the next kind of leap forward? Where's the next kind of evolution of fucking... I mean, I think there's still fucking talented guys. There's like Randy Orton, I think, is like one of the greats. From that era, I think Orton is the best of that ruthless aggression era. He's the best heel. He actually is fucking charismatic. He actually seems to enjoy it. And he's just a great in-ring guy. He's, that style's kind of interesting, those super jacked. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I would agree with that. Like, compared to WrestleMania fucking 35, where Sting jobbed to Triple H, that was like the last one that I watched. And I couldn't believe, I mean, I got why they were doing everything that they did. It was like cartoonish and kind of like really super rated G. But, to be honest, I just didn't even think the wrestling was that good. I mean, there's so many countless WrestleMania matches that are classics. Fucking Bret Hart, Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, the fucking Iron Man match. Like, fucking The Rock versus Hulk Hogan, all of that shit. It's like that stuff felt like iconic, because you knew who the fuck these people were. Like Cody Rhodes. People who don't know about wrestling do not know who this guy is. Like, not that is a bad thing, but it's like, it just doesn't mean the same thing. Even Roman Reigns, like, is pretty fucking bland, if you ask me. I mean, he's just another guy that they pushed so hard that, like, finally he kind of came into his own a little bit and was able to be charismatic. But, I don't know. I just think the whole wrestling ecosystem has changed so much. Now it's like ultra corporate monopoly. WWE is like the only thing that has fucking existed. The territories have just been like homogenized into that. And so there's still interesting things happening, but it definitely doesn't feel like as down and dirty and kind of grimy. There's not the same impact. It's just not as lit. There's no gas in it. The thing about McMahon, he was a psycho, but like, they pushed the boundaries in the Attitude Era. I didn't see any of that, right? I heard Kevin Nash trashed the fucking match, and he's like, Cody should have drew color. He's like, it's WrestleMania. Why is he not drawing color? It's like, Jesus Christ. I mean, I kind of agree in a way, like something needed to happen to like light that match on fire to the next level. The Undertaker thing even just felt like they couldn't get Steve Austin, or like Steve Austin just just couldn't do it or something. And so they had to get somebody real fast. I mean, I saw a video on TikTok of the Undertaker like sitting in a fucking skybox, like one of those corporate boxes, like in his fucking, hoodie and shit and sweatpants, like watching the matches. It's like, it seems like they just threw him in at the last second or something. It felt like they really had an opportunity. If they would have brought Austin back, it would have hooked people from my era, which was like the last era that it really had like kind of a cultural stranglehold. Like, you know, wrestling is always like a part of each generation. Like my little brother, you know, John Cena and shit, like he cares about that shit. I stopped watching, but it's also just like a really good art form. And I don't know, it just doesn't feel, it still feels like super safe. And I don't know, just, I didn't feel the, yeah, I mean, everybody expected fucking Steve Austin to come back. It would have been the ultimate. I mean, I was watching clips of, I guess Steve Austin came back a few years ago and stunned Vince McMahon, and it was a super botched job. But you know, he didn't look good. He was wearing like a t-shirt. You could tell he looked like a little bit out of shape. But there was videos of him on TikTok training and shit, and you're like, okay, maybe this is like the way, because a lot of these guys will play their storyline out like on their social media and shit beforehand. So yeah, exactly. Which like it was kind of a botchamania, but it was like the atmosphere is different. I thought since McMahon was gone, maybe a lot of people would want to come back. It was like, here's their opportunity. You know, like if they stepped away from wrestling because McMahon like tainted it, or like, you know, he was a poisonous guy, kind of obviously, you felt like this would maybe have been a time for them to reopen the door and come back, like Stephanie McMahon did. But I don't know. I don't even remember any of the other fucking matches, to be honest. Like, even trying to think back, like, what the hell else even happened? Because I watched the whole goddamn thing. I was sitting in Pub Key. Oh, it's in the Sanctuary? Okay, all right. I was in Pub Key, and I was charging my phone because my phone's, like, fucking dying and shit. Okay, I'll see you over there. So I watched the whole goddamn thing. I watched, you know, honestly, the only thing I even remember was the fucking 6-pack ladder match from the first night. And, like, the tag team match, it wasn't bad or anything, but it was like, I don't, you know, like, there were amazing, like, WrestleMania is the moment where, like, these guys have to reach for the brass ring. You know, like, when fucking Lesnar did that Shooting Stars press and, like, fucked himself up so bad, that was WrestleMania. You can tell he was fucking going for it, you know? You take the two biggest, you know, these guys are, I'm not, you know, I'm obviously not like a size-ist or anything, but like Cody Rhodes and the other guy, Seth Rollins, are clearly way fucking smaller than The Rock and Roman Reigns. Like, they would have beat the shit out of these guys. Like, it would have been no contest. I'm sorry, but like Cody Rhodes is just not really... yeah, the Usos, I see them a lot. Yeah, okay, this is the other thing I bitched about on my instant review, was like, everybody does a fucking super kick now. All these guys, I don't know if that's just like a safe kind of high impact move for them, but it's like, enough with the goddamn super kicks. There's a lot of different kicks you can do. You know, you can do enziguri kicks, you can do fucking spinning heel kicks, you can do leg lariats. Oh, Rock's worth $800 million. Okay, so they have to protect that shit. But it's all fucking super kicks now. And it's like, dude, there's a lot of fucking kicks. You know, there's a lot of moveset out there that just like, it just doesn't feel like the moves have as high impact now. I don't know if that's the ring or what. Even that brain buster the guy did on the turnbuckle really was not... I saw somebody do that move in some match a few weeks before WrestleMania, and like, it was shocking at the time. But in the WrestleMania, just like, I don't know if the camera work or what, it just did not seem, it didn't have the same impact. You know, the thing about ECW and even like Nitro in the fucking 90s is like the rings, you know, the ECW ring was like this kind of blue, this like kind of fucking periwinkle or whatever, and it was sprung so fucking tightly and nicely that like, it was so satisfying when they fucking delivered those moves. The way that the fucking ring would pump. And that kind of shit matters. You know, all of the tactile kind of like buttons and shit, all the sensuality of the wrestling, you know, the smoke and mirrors, like the entrances and shit. To me, it felt more like WrestleMania Triple H versus Sting than like the glory days. It did not feel like, yeah, the selling was insane. They don't, like I saw, that was one thing Nash complained about when he did one of his finishing moves. I don't remember which one, but it's like Cody Rhodes got up before fucking Roman Reigns. And it's like he did the fucking move. It's like they all kick out of finishers a million fucking times. I mean, that era of like the F5 and all those finishers, John Cena's finisher, Brock Lesnar's finisher, those were high impact moves. Those definitely gave a lot of fucking bang for their buck. I get why they're not doing that now, but it's like, I don't know, man. Like, there's a lot of fucking stuff they could do. It just doesn't. It's so convoluted. That Crossroads move is so fucking convoluted. And it's like, I don't know. I get it. There's a lot of reversal. There's a lot of fucking like, I don't know. To me, the DDT is not a goddamn finisher. Somebody's like finisher was like a fucking DDT or something. It's like, I don't know. You know, there's a lot of possibilities. They could invent new finishers. I don't know. It felt underwhelming, let's just say. I mean, Rock versus Hogan, like that match really delivered, you know? For what it was WrestleMania. Those guys, and I do think maybe something is being lost because the story goes with that Hogan told The Rock, Jake the Snake had a DDT finisher, but that was at a time when people had like fucking sleeper hold. Like back then it kind of made sense. Even like an even flow DDT is kind of a cool finisher, but to me it's like, it's too much of a regular move at this point. Like a Stone Cold Stunner is unmistakable. That says so much about the character, and it's so fucking, you know, it's iconic. That finisher. That's even the Rock's finishers are kind of not good. You know, I never really thought the Rock Bottom was that good of a finisher. The People's Elbow is funny, and like you definitely want to see a People's Elbow once in your lifetime, but you know, it's like it's an elbow drop. It's like he's making fun of the leg drop. You know, he pretends he's going to do a leg drop. So it's sort of a comedy move. It's a charisma move. Like a super kick, I guess. All those moves, those are the worst moves, if you ask me. Like, even the Sweet Chin Music, I really, you know, the thing that he stomps the ring and shit, it's cool for what it is, but like, I don't know. I think at a certain point after the advent of like the Stone Cold Stunner and shit, it's like you need a goddamn finisher. You need a Tombstone Pile Driver, something that's going to differentiate you. Fucking the Razor's Edge. Right. You got to protect your finisher. Exactly. Like, you can't. Now it's just like, it's expected they're going to kick out, you know, of each other's finisher probably at least once, maybe twice. And then the endings are kind of fucking underwhelming. It's like, I guess he did his fucking corkscrew fucking thing 3 times to really put the nail in the coffin, but I don't know. There wasn't, you know, think about Jeff Hardy jumping off a fucking ladder, you know, risking his life. You know, I didn't see anything like that. You know, WrestleMania, it's like, there has to be illegal, borderline, you know, I don't know. Maybe that's just the way, that's like the boomer narrative is like everything in the culture sucks now because there's too much safety. You know, like McMahon, think about throwing Mankind off the Hell in the Cell, you know. No, there's a lot to talk about. I feel like I'm not really getting into like anything that's not already been said, but it's like that was my feeling about it. I mean, I guess every generation is young and they think that the shit that they're watching is the best thing that's ever happened, but think about the Kurt Angle, Benoit, who was it, Jericho? There was like a 3-way match. I mean, those motherfuckers could wrestle, man. Kurt Angle, like those guys had interesting move sets that fit their characters. I mean, say what you will. I mean, we all know what happened with Benoit, but his move set was very interesting. And it fit kind of who he was. The headbutt, the German suplex, like nobody else did that shit. The crossface. Nobody else did any of that shit. All right, we'll see you in a little while, Ashley, okay? I'm talking about wrestling. Don't interrupt me when I'm talking about wrestling, okay? Woo! You know, like, you don't necessarily need... Like, Flair's only got about 4 or 5 moves that he does at all. It's just he's able to string those into these sequences that are really poetry. You know, that's what it's about. Yeah, exactly. Like... You know, when I was a little kid, like I said, Hulk Hogan versus fucking Ultimate Warrior, that felt monumental. You know, both of those guys, I mean, Hulk Hogan, everything about him, like, he you know, it's like, you're not going to convince me that fucking Cody Rhodes is on that level. You know, it's like, he's a great, I don't even know if I'd say he's a great performer. To be honest, I'm not that impressed. He's pretty good, but like, if you put him against some of the shit like AJ Styles does, you know, it's like, I don't know. I haven't paid that much attention to fucking wrestling. It's just hard to, I can't appreciate a lot of these new moves and shit. You know, I don't really want to see Roman Reigns spear people or do a flying, like, jumping punch. You know, I don't want to see a bunch of guys who weigh 225 pounds like jump and like punch each other in the face with gloves while they're, you know, like. But I also don't want to see a bunch of like gymnastics either. It's like, you know, part of what was beautiful about ECW and WCW in the 90s was like the blend of all the different styles. You know, you'd see Lucha Libre, or they'd put a Lucha Libre versus like a Tajiri versus like a, you know, they threw a lot of different stuff on the card. They had a, you know, they'd have Axl Rose or Axl Rotten and Balls Mahoney beat the shit out of each other with weapons. They'd have New Jack jump off a fucking balcony. They'd have Tejas suplex the fuck out of Sabu. You know, RVD would be kicking people in the face with chairs. He'd do a spot fest with Jerry Lynn. Then they'd have Sid come in, power bomb the fuck out of, you know, there was a lot of different fucking things going on. You know, I think WWE obviously is like so into its own brand, but the brand has just gotten, since they've gone public and super corporate, the brand has just gotten more and more, you know, you can tell that there's just like a lot of guidelines and a lot of, the way that they're trained, I don't know. Like you said, the way they sell the moves, they all look like stunt actors in like a fucking SeaWorld like action show or something. They don't really look like, you know, fucking Terry Funk. You know, it's just like, it all feels like prop, like some kind of fight in a fucking Roadhouse or something. It feels like it's a fight in a movie. You know, it doesn't feel like, you know, I was watching this highlight reel of Big Show doing drop kicks. He would like jump off the fucking top turnbuckle. It ends with Big Show doing an elbow drop. It's like the dude weighed 500 pounds. Like, I didn't see anything like that, you know? There has to be like a little bit of recklessness in wrestling, you know? And there has to be like a little bit of like, just like, it's all about, it's more about mass, to be honest. It's not really about like being cut. Like, all these new guys are like cut and they have these like really sculpted physiques. It's like, that's not really strength. You know, like if you look at a big 310-pound pile of shit like Brock Lesnar or, you know, Bam Bam Bigelow, you know, like somebody like that'll beat your ass. You know, the Bam Bam Bigelow LT match, you know, like now that was a fucking wrestling match. Just two big ass people just running into each other like fucking rams, you know? That's the part of wrestling that I don't really see. You don't see that kind of like body on body, like, yeah, big ass, yeah. Apparently Big Show did a moonsault at one point. I've never seen that, but I don't know. I don't know. Like, these Uso guys and shit are big, but it's not. I don't know, man. It's like wrestling. This is just how it is. A lot of the time it's generic and kind of banal and kind of underwhelming. But to be honest, I mean, it's not necessarily. It is like, it's pretty basic entertainment. You know, it's just like you're watching people beat each other up. There's value in that. There's always an audience for it. You know, like wrestling goes through highs and lows, but it's always kind of like there. You know, like we said we haven't watched it in 20 years. And yet, you know, there was definitely things worth watching, I think, through the Ruthless Aggression era. I think Cena is super overrated. His fucking run-in, I guess, was essential, but he did not look good. You know, I think that's a consequence of HD, but, like, man, even when Hogan came back, you know, in, like, the 2000s, he looked pretty good, to be honest. Like, not that his moveset was ever, like, super complicated or anything, but, like, he was tan as fuck. He looked like a fucking Thanksgiving turkey. You know, like, when he was at WrestleMania with The Rock, you know, whenever the fuck that was, 2003 or whatever, it's like he looked like he could do it, you know? Even though he was probably 50 at the time, it's like Cena kind of looked like shit. He looked a little bit like there was I don't know, he looked a little soft. He looked like a little bit, That's right, I'm just going to talk about wrestling the whole fucking time. And you could definitely see his bald spot. I mean, I hate to call that out, but he's got this, like, you know, fucking comb back, you know, where, like, he's got this weird thing where, like, now he grows his hair out long on top and he kind of combs it back. But it was not working. He should just shave his head. You know, he never had long hair. It's like, just shave your head, dude. You're 50, man. Exactly. Like, I don't... Okay, the thing they always talk about in wrestling is, like, are you over with the crowd, right? Like, Stone Cold Steve Austin was motherfucking over. Like, that dude got that what thing over to the point that people still do that shit. Like, that dude was fucking over. Like, Cena, I think he sort of got over. Like, supposedly he did some kind of freestyle rap thing that people liked. And he got kind of... The thing that I've noticed is they pick these guys that are like, they're blue chip, and they push the fuck out of them. They push them down our throats for years and years and years, and then eventually something just clicks. And they sort of get over. Like Roman Reigns, it felt like the same thing. Like, when I saw him at fucking WrestleMania, whatever that was, 37, it just felt like nobody liked this motherfucker. He's supposed to be the babyface and the greatest of all time and whatever. It's like, it felt like nobody liked this dude. And it's like, he's not over at all. Yeah, Roman Reigns, not over. Like, the way that you get over is by being fucking dynamic and entertaining. You know, like, you get over by, like, Jeff Hardy or the fucking Dudley Boys. Think about how fucking over they were. You know, they were just fucking, like, they were not super built. They wore t-shirts and fucking, like, long underwear to the ring. Tie-dye shirts and shit. And think about how fucking over the Dudley Boys were. Because they worked their asses off. You know, the 3D was a super dynamic move. It was an ingenious fucking move. Whoever made that up. A diamond cutter with like a fucking whatever that is. I don't know what that move is. Steinerplex. I like Scott Steiner, man. I thought he was one of the best. He was one of the all-time best mic workers as far as I'm concerned. Scott Steiner could fucking talk shit like nobody's business. You know, he was a dirtbag, but who's over like that now? These Uso guys, I don't know, they're kind of over. Who's the dudes with like the trombones and shit? Like, it's all just, it seems like it's played very much for kids now. I'm sure what will happen to wrestling is exactly what happened to Hollywood. Now that it's bought, yeah, holler if you hear me, exactly. See, exactly. These motherfuckers had catchphrases for days. But I'm sure what it's going to happen to WWE just like has happened to Hollywood. Now it's owned by shareholders and like TKO. It's going to be all about return on investment and making money at all costs. And so they will hollowed the product out just to get, I don't even know, kids to watch. Like, it's on Netflix, right? That's the big move. Raw is going to be on Netflix for like the next 5 fucking years. Like, Netflix like paid $1 billion goddamn dollars. That's what I mean. It's like, through fallow times and good times, like, wrestling is a moneymaker. It's Elemental, it's gladiator combat, it's soap opera, it's clowning, it's Saturday Night Live, it's stand-up comedy, it's watching fucking cockfighting. And it's fake. It's you know, it's theater. It's Shakespeare. It's Aeschylus. It's Pirandello. I mean, Paul Heyman is a fucking genius. I really wish they would just let Paul Heyman fucking give him the reins. Fuck Triple H. I never liked Triple H. I'm not surprised that he's been able to maneuver his way into this position over the decades. That is one of the things that's fascinating about it, seeing him and The Rock sort of like inherit the company and how deep their roots go and how they sort of married, you know, Triple H married into it. And so the McMahons will still be involved in some way. That's kind of crazy because of Stephanie. And The Rock's family dynasty goes on back, you know, decades, generations, right? And so that's kind of fascinating. But I don't know. It's on Netflix, so one thing I did not like about WrestleMania was they had a big ad right in the middle of the fucking ring. That thing where it said Prime, and the fact that it's like Logan Paul's fucking sponsor, and he's like pimping his like fucking Prime water, whatever the fuck it is. It's like, what the fuck is this? People are already paying, you know, whatever it is, pay-per-view. How do people even watch it now? Like WWE Network, does that still exist? I don't think it does, right? Or like, how the fuck do people watch WrestleMania now? I don't know. Is pay-per-view still a thing? Does everybody watch it illegally on TikTok? Like me? But seeing an ad right in the middle of the fucking ring kind of pissed me off. Like, I guess that's a UFC thing. Like, let's just put ads all over everything. Now the fucking apron is like an ad. It's an LCD. And the fucking, like, you know, guardrail around the ring is like an ad. An LCD. Just like the fucking, you know, okay, this is a little off topic, but in the subway, you can't find a fucking subway map anymore. It's all LCD screens. So it's like it flips to an ad, and then it'll flip to like maybe the train schedule, and then it'll flip to another ad. It's like, I need to see the fucking train map. Like, I don't, you know, not everything is paid. Every fucking thing in our lives is like financialized, economized. It drives me insane. And so it wouldn't be surprised. Didn't Brock Lesnar have product placements? It wouldn't surprise me if these motherfuckers start to look like NASCAR drivers, you know, in the next 10 years. They're all going to be wearing all kind of logos like fucking President Camacho. Apparently it's cool now. Everybody in New York wears these fucking NASCAR jackets. All of like the hippest dime square people are like draped in like Pennzoil, like Dale Earnhardt, Kyle Petty. It's like, what the fuck is that? Yeah, you need product placement. Brock had like a special deal because he was like he was the alpha male of the species. He's railing Sable to create the perfect white trash human beings in the middle of Canada. The apex genetic hillbilly white people. War Machine. He played for the Minnesota Vikings. He was pretty good at UFC. See, now that doesn't surprise me. Like, the fact that CM Punk got his ass handed to him doesn't surprise me at all. Like, that guy's a bitch. Okay, I missed the entire CM Punk era, but the guy is a bitch. There's no way he's kicking anybody's ass. Like, Brock Lesnar would eat that guy for fucking breakfast. You know, like, I'm not surprised at all that that fucking guy got his ass handed to him in 15 seconds. But he was pretty good, I thought. Wasn't Brock like the fucking champion? Like, I imagine that guy will tear your fucking head off. Like, CM Punk is not going to beat any... He roasts people. He's just like the comedians where, like, he breaks kayfabe and he says shit that's like, you know,
personal truth or something, and everybody goes, whoa, this guy's like brutal. He's savage, right? That was the big thing a few years ago. It's like, oh my God, he's savage. It's like, that's what comedy is now. They want you to fucking just like be mean, you know, and just be like, oh, you fucking, yeah. So anyway, Brock Lesnar, I would not fuck with that guy. All right, maybe I'll walk around a little more now that I'm rested. All right. I mean, is there anything else I need to unpack about fucking WrestleMania? I mean, Logan Paul is okay. You know, I don't necessarily think he's a bad worker. You know, he's one of the better workers out there, I would say, actually. That's kind of fucked up, but you know, I think that they let him train with Shawn Michaels and shit because that's the era that he likes, and that's why he's pretty good, you know, because like you can tell he's modeling himself on something a little more dynamic, slightly aerial, slightly power. You know, not that all these guys don't model themselves on Shawn Michaels, but I can't even remember any of the other fucking matches. There was some women matches, you know. I think it's cool that they fucking have, like, that women's wrestling has actually become, like, a big part of it. Okay. Low self-esteem is killing. We'll talk about that in 1 second. But I wanted to be pro-feminist wrestling. I really would like to start wrestling again, to be honest. I think it's really the best thing for me forward. I think I'd like to go back to backyard wrestling. I think that would be actually, it's the only thing that I think uses all of your powers. You know, like Logan Paul said, wrestling requires like a very specific skill set that like, he said it's the hardest thing he's done, way harder than boxing. It's like, you got to be incredibly fit. You know, The Rock and Cena they looked stiff. They looked like their hip flexors were stiff. And they looked like, you know, old guys, hey, get off my lawn. I'm going to come out and beat your ass. I got a bad back, but I'm going to kick your ass. I can still kick ass. You know, I can still. Okay, low self-esteem is killing your career. Oh, my God. Well, is it about self-esteem? I guess, you know, having confidence is fucking. Well, okay, here's something Shawn Michaels said. Sometimes not being the sharpest knife in the drawer is a good thing. Now, I'm not saying that about you at all. I think that's what's hard. You know, usually it's the people that are more intelligent or whatever, more aware, more sensitive, that have low self-esteem. You know, and, okay. There's Rachel Dratch across the street. That's Rachel Dratch right there. Okay. But I'm not going to be weird about it. Not gonna swat anybody here, okay? I think low self-esteem is like one of probably the preconditions of show business. You know, it's probably the people with the lowest self-esteem that are like the most talented. You know, like apparently Richard Pryor's mom would like fuck other guys, like, because she was a prostitute. He grew up his whole life in a whorehouse, and his mom was like a prostitute, and she, you know, I don't know what happened to his dad, but it was like he would regularly listen to his mom like fucking other guys and this and that, and I think he got beat up as a kid, and you know, just like the worst fucking, like, you know, Don Draper ass kind of upbringing. But you know, a lot of times it's those people that are like the fucking most traumatized and like the most, you know, they have to fucking develop some kind of hyper talent just to like survive, just to like stay fucking, you know. Well, this is something I was talking about. This guy, I started talking to this guy in Washington Square Park yesterday, and he's like, we're just talking about music, right? And it's like, you know, a lot of times it's the worst conditions that create singing, you know, and the best music. You know, think about blues music. You know, everything in the last 100 years of music in this country has been based on blues music. It's like those were absolutely the worst conditions you could imagine, you know, that created that, you know. I mean, it's not why it happened, you know, obviously, you know, but I think it's a survival technique. right? You got it. Music is the thing that's healing when you feel like shit. And so a lot of times it's when you're at your fucking, you know, breaking point that you, but, I don't know, man. It's like the comedian, the stand-up open mic, or just like that scene is fucking. You know, it's weird because there's a camaraderie to it that I really think is healthy, and it is like this very strong community, and everybody is, you know, sort of supportive in a way, I guess, depending, I guess, on your talent level, you know, or whatever, you know. The thing that's frustrating about doing this is there are like, you know, there is like buzz, you know, and so it's like you got to create buzz somehow, and it's hard to do that, you know, and it's, you know, if things aren't working in your favor or this or that, and but it's like a lot of these comedians, it's like, I don't know, it's I can't imagine it'd be easy to have high self-esteem, because it's like, Jesus Christ, people are just like making fun of you. You're making fun of yourself. You know, this is one reason why I think I was so bad at like online dating, is because I'm just like so self-deprecating that it's like, man, sometimes I will go back and like watch some of my old live streams. It's like, I can't even watch this. This is so like fucking self-deprecating and just like sad. And I guess that's just like kind of the way I was raised, or it's like a program mindset or something, you know? It's like, I think for me, it's like, it's hard to break through to do the things that I really want to do on stage. Because I'm still trying to get over with the audience, and you know, I've never really had, you know, I think this is something for yeah, I think this is something for, you know, millennials or whatever, people younger than us, is like, we don't, you know, we haven't necessarily had the initiation rituals, or like the successes, you know, we've never had those thresholds. We've never passed those thresholds of like, oh, I did this and I'm sort of confirmed as like, you know, legitimate or something. You know, I never got a fucking Comedy Central half hour. I never got a book contract. I never fucking, yeah. I mean, you know, this is one of the reasons why I came to New York. I had a line in my notebook the other day. I'm a refugee from my family. You know, and it's like, I love my family, you know, a lot of what motivates me is like trying to help them or this or that, but, I don't know, it's not necessarily their job to be, I guess, supportive of like your art or anything, but I feel like even in this moment, you know, a lot of times when I'm trying to like deliver on like a point that I'm trying to make, or like even doing this, you know, like I feel like I'm never actually hitting anything that is really effective, because I can picture myself sitting on the couch having a conversation with my mom and doing basically the same thing, and she stops listening to me, she starts talking over me within like 2 sentences of me talking, or you know, it's just like I never really, okay, like my brother, for instance, Jack, is the one that sort of like, when we became adults, he became the one that was like funny. He became like sort of good at stuff that I was like good at, sort of. He was like really good at it, you know, or at least my parents thought that. You know, my parents would be like, man, Jack's pretty funny. He's good at like mimicking people. Jack's a really good mimic. It's like, well, I thought I was good at that, you know? And Jack, you know, Jack has sort of like a Facebook audience. He used to write these fucking MySpace blogs. My brother Jack used to write these MySpace blogs. And they're not like, I mean, they're very like emotional in a way. But it's like he's a good writer. He is a good writer, but he's also, I wouldn't necessarily say what he does is cliche, but it's like a lot of what he writes about, like on Facebook or like his blogs or whatever, it was just like, don't you hate it when fucking people, I don't even know, just sort of like complaining about, I hate it when fucking people play like their music too goddamn loud, or just like, and it's like, I don't know why this shit, it's like, it's funny. It is funny. It is funny to hear him complain about this stuff. And he is like good at like nailing it. Like if my brother really wanted it, people tell him this, right? Pretty regularly. They're like, man, you should be a stand-up comedian. You're funny. Jack's the funniest person we know. And it's like, if you hear my brother Jack do somebody else's comedy bit, like a lot of times he'll be doing a bit. I'm like, what is that? He'll be like, oh, it's Mr. Show. It's like, it's funnier when you do it. It's like funnier to hear my brother Jack do it than to hear the original thing, And so it's like, I don't have that, but I feel like so close, I feel, so it's like, that's like my own hang up constantly in my head is it's like, I know that if Jack was doing this, he would probably connect on this and people would probably be like, oh, fuck, yeah, this dude's hilarious. This guy's great. You have to cultivate your own confidence. Oh, yeah, I mean, well, okay, the big discovery for me was, in Columbus, Ohio, as a white Catholic person, they are raising you to be an agreeable worker. You're meant to be passive aggressive. You're meant to not ask for anything. You're meant to just like have a great attitude, be a team player, energetic, people person, sociable, outgoing. This is literally what it says. And, my family, a lot of them are like, they're great people. They're beautiful people. They're super nice. But, you come to New York, that's not what succeeds. And that's not what people are here. It's like New York, you got to be fucking aggressive. That's what I've seen. In my fucking 15 years here, I am not aggressive. I am passive aggressive. And it's one of the reasons why I don't even have any kind of penetration into anything here, because I'm just not aggressive enough. It's like you have to go for it. You gotta step up to people, introduce yourself, and make it work somehow. It's just like, that's just how it is here. And that's cool. But when I moved here, being around people like that, and I got turned on to things that were more about having confidence in your own ideas and believing in your own ideas and having agency. The frustration that I have with Ohio and my family is they're so critical of everything. They judge everything. And my brother and my dad are like exceptionally good musicians. They make money playing music in bars and shit. And there's a whole belief about what music has to be, and it's the commerciality of it. You got to make money doing it, and so it's got to be this way, and blah blah blah. And I gotta pull over for just a second. I felt like kind of the sickly, ineffective child or something, where it's like I can't do it that way, and so moving to New York, but you're also just taught, it's like everybody's in a fucking cover band, everybody's copying other people's ideas that have already worked, it's like, so coming to New York and getting more into things like meditation, getting into things like self-help, Stephen Pressfield, The War of Art. The biggest lesson for me was believe in it's like the Bob Dylan song, trust yourself. That's the best lesson. And I know I'm copying somebody else, to talk about believing in yourself, but like trust yourself. That's what Bob Dylan said. Don't believe him, don't trust him. You know, believe in your own ideas, whatever the fuck they are. You know, that there was a switch that got hit in me being here because I was surrounded by super motivated people and people who weren't necessarily critiquing everything and blah, blah, blah. And so, you know, like, it does kind of suck, you know, just like doing your own ideas and not getting any recognition for it. Like I had one of my friends the other day sent me a message and he's like, it's cool that like you've always just like done stuff. It's like you just go out and do stuff. It's like, that just makes me sound pathetic. It's like, wow, you're so like active with your art. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, you know, with comedy, it's like you see a lot of people who are getting up on stage and fucking like, maybe they shouldn't be. I don't know. It's like if they're gonna get up and be assholes and fucking try to justify whatever their sick point of view is, like, you know, I think what we're trying to do, be successful in the arts, there are definitely like pragmatic ways to go about doing it. But it's hard to just like take pride in the fact that you just do it. You know, like I saw this fucking video where they're talking to Miles Davis and he's like, they're like, would you still play music if you weren't rich and famous? And he's like, yes, you know, because that's what he fucking does. And it's like, seeing him say that is kind of like enabling, because you're like, that's everybody. That's all of us. You know, it's like we want to be successful. It sucks that the world is like belittling to us just because we're not. You know, like, oh, well, you never actually, you're not famous. What have you been in that I would have heard of? You know, you're not viral. Music is a curse. Says Mike Davis, famous trumpeter, Mike Davis. I don't know. Everybody's just roasting everybody all the time. Everybody's trolling. Everybody's got some kind of edgelord comment on everything. I mean, I think with like comedy, it's like there are fucking ways. It's like you could get a job as a writer on like, you know, when I was doing improv like a decade ago, you know, people that were like improv teachers were like writers on fucking some True TV, like fucking, or like MTV had all these fucking, MTV2 had like all these fucking shows like, where it was like, oh, they just need commentary, ridiculousness, whatever the fuck it is. You know, it's like there are jobs for that in a way. You know, it really is about, in all this stuff, you know, it really is about like making friends with the right people, not necessarily because they're the right people, but just because you naturally vibe with them. And then like that will take you there. You know, if you are earnest and like, my interpersonal relationships have gone up in flames. Okay. Okay. Dude, they're all terrible people. I hate to say it, but like, I don't know, like, how could they be fun to be around? Like, they're mean. They're not funny even. A lot of them are weird looking. You know, it's like, just because you're funny looking doesn't mean you're funny. I'm sorry. Yeah, we've entered the Nepo baby era. Cody Rhodes, another Nepo baby. The Rock and Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, they're all fucking Nepo babies. Not like Shawn Michaels had to make it himself, or Ric Flair, or Hogan. I'll bet they didn't break Cody Rhodes' ankle the first day of fucking wrestling camp, like they did with Hogan. His initiation. Networking is how to make it. Well, oh God. Well, I mean, I think there's a few different ways to make it, but everywhere is Nepo babies. Sports, media, entertainment, music. Yes, I agree. There's generational wealth. Well, we're set up in a society that's trying to reward people for like being bigger, stronger, fat. You know, it's like the bigger monopoly you already are, the funniest comments don't network. Okay, the one I feel like it's so hard to stand out, but like, yes, like if you can break through to, that's the thing, is like, dude, you see all these people, like how many of them are, and like, don't get me wrong, they're working on their craft, they're smart, whatever, but like how many of them actually crack through to anything magical? And like one person, maybe I shouldn't name names, I've seen somebody, you know, Assad Benbow, I see he's starting to get booked on stuff, and I'm like, you know, this kind of makes sense. This dude is natural on stage, and he's funny. He's memorable. He's got a unique delivery. It's like he kind of does stand out in a way. And so it's like, I think a lot of it is just like sort of working on yourself, you know. One thing a lot of these people have in common is meditation. Right? The fucking Beatles meditate, Howard Stern meditates, Jerry Seinfeld meditates. And, you know, that's one way to fucking just like go deeper into ideas. You know, I think if you do have just like fucking 98%, they get because they're good with networking, good with people, good at playing the game. Yes, I mean, I think there's a lot of fucking ways that it's fixed now, right? There's a lot of prearranged, that's why the culture sucks. Because everybody is getting these jobs because of nepotism or, you know, oh, I haven't checked out Stephen Jesse Bernstein yet. Can you put it in like the actual comments of one of the videos so it's like there, so I can look at it? I mean, like, oh God. I don't know if you can worry about like making it. I mean, it's like a cliche, but it's like fucking true. But like, dude, I'm not good at it either. I'm the worst at it. But you know, to some degree, it's like we are just trying to participate. You know, it's like you're either trying to participate in some entity that already exists by getting a job as a writer on this or that, you know, some TV show, or you make your own audience on the internet, which I guess you just do through sheer, I don't even know, just getting fucking people to like you somehow, getting people to watch you. I mean, I think with comedy, it's like everyone is looking for somebody to tell the truth, somebody to make them laugh, blah, blah, blah. And so, like, you do have to be honest with yourself about just, like, what are the best moments you have of doing that. You know, if you can edit it down to that stuff, you know, like, I think that's all you can do is just, like, work your ass off, really. I mean, I think if you just go out like, look at that Jake and Louie guy. He's great, and he has a thing, you know, that kind of differentiates him, but, like, he also goes to fucking 4 open mics a day. Every single day he's not working. You know, I do think that actually helps a lot. Like, you know, if you go out and do it 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 and just do it all the fucking time, you will get better at it and people will notice, you know? I mean, I definitely pretty much have people kind of respond well to my poetry, and it's because I've been doing it for 15 fucking years. You know, even when I don't do what I think is my best, people can tell that I've just got that much time built up into it. You know, it's just like I've done it, you know, I've been doing open mics and writing and shit as hard as anybody for the last 20 fucking years. And so, you know, I mean, making it is just like you're trying to participate in somebody else's world, probably generally. And so it's like, look at fucking Shane Gillis, dude. I mean, the dude was fired by Saturday Night Live and he just fucking hosted it because he's just out there. You know, he's on podcasts. You know, he's just doing shit. That's all you can do. You know, even if you're fucking Norm Macdonald, it's like the dude was, there's a fucking video on YouTube or audio. It's Norm Macdonald in Columbus, Ohio, right before the pandemic. It's like, that's what he did. He did stand-up comedy. You know, he loved doing stand-up comedy. He traveled in stand-up comedy. So it's like, unfortunately, like, for me, the realization is like, you know, these people are not going anywhere. You know, like the poetry world, for me, it's a little harder because it's kind of small. And it is hard because everyone is competing over jobs. You know, that's kind of like the unspoken thing. And so when you're at a function with a bunch of people who have jobs that are making a living and you don't make anything and you're sort of left out of that, you know, it is a little bit hard to face that and to behave, you know, politely. For me, it's just like, I really just feel like, and this is just blaming outside circumstances, but I really feel like Trump and the pandemic sort of just like blew in a hole in the possibility of my life. I didn't really get going till I was 30, which was my mistake. You know, like I should have really just figured out, but once again, this goes back to the thing we're talking about with family and home and shit. It's just like, I didn't have the circumstances and I didn't have the internal wherewithal to just like go out and make some kind of original life for myself in Ohio. You know, I was too sensitive and I didn't have the right, like the thing about even like an artistic career is it's just like you kind of have to be indifferent about people's reaction. You know, you just do it. You just have to do it and 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 do it. I mean, I've played so many gigs with nobody there. And I kind of like it that way, actually. I've been heckled a lot, you know. People insult me on stage. I wish that it wasn't that way. I wish that I would have had success, but it's taken me this long to realize, like, only now am I sort of getting to, like, fly. Which is like, I should have been doing this 20 fucking years ago. You know, I should have been doing exactly what I'm doing now as hard as I'm doing it and harder 20 years ago. Yeah. And, but, you know, it also, it's possible and a truth that like, look at, yeah, Gillis, I'm not really a dog, okay? I wouldn't necessarily say I'm a dog. I'm just using him as an example, you know, of somebody who doesn't quit. He's okay. He's just like wrestling now. He's okay. You know, he's not like you want him to be funnier, but there's just like something that's not, you know, but he's funnier than a lot of the other shit out there because it's so bad. So it's like, it's also true that like you can walk into a fucking room and introduce yourself to the right 4 people and be like, Ashley, you know, it's like she's only been in New York a year. She's already got a book deal. She's already, you know, she's already accomplished all of the objectives that I've had in my entire life, which I haven't accomplished. Maybe not all of them, but like in 15 years, I haven't even been able to do one thing really that Ashley was able to do in a year, you know? And a lot of it is because she introduced herself to the right people. And she did it right, you know? I don't know how she was so comfortable doing that and so, you know, but, yeah. Well, see, this is the thing is like, I'm frustrated by the comedy thing because like, I want to do this on stage and it's, you know, 5 minutes is not really long enough. And it's just like, where, you know, how do I build an audience for this, you know, other than online, you know, like who's going to come and listen to somebody talk for 3 hours about their week, WrestleMania, trying to spin the collage together. But yeah, it's like, you know, if you get the right person to fucking say, hey, this guy is the guy, like who's that guy, Joe List or whatever? He's kind of like Louis' fucking like protege or whatever. That kind of stuff does go a long way, but it's like finding a golden ticket. You know, we're all trying to do it. We're all trying to figure out who's the, how do we break through? How do we become like the fucking voice of reason and, you know, and a cultural leader and influencer? How do we become Bo Burnham? There are all those positions already filled, you know, by the Taylor Swifts, by the, and why are we so unsatisfied? You know, I just think people want some kind of fake completion on everything. You know, they want Bo Burnham to rhyme everything. They want Taylor Swift to turn everything into like a pop hook. And there's less place in our culture for just kind of like a longer, less immediately gratifying, less like whapping you over the face with like, I don't know, things that sound profound or something. Neil Hamburger, now you're talking. Now that guy's a cultural hero. Well, he's a good example. Fucking Greg Turkington, right? He started in San Francisco in the 80s as like a DIY fucking punk guy. I think he was like a manager. He wasn't even like a fucking, he wasn't even like a fucking comedian or anything. And he booked all these places for bands and shit for like the fucking, well, it means a lot. It means a lot that you watch. And I you know, I appreciate, I love being on the podcast, you know. But so Greg Turkington, he had all these connections through like his DIY kind of booking music shit. So he started to book himself as Neil Hamburger. He never did comedy clubs. You know, Neil fucking Hamburger never went to a fucking comedy open mic probably ever. But Neil Hamburger booked himself in all these punk clubs. He'd open for like, I don't even know, fucking Rancid, or I don't even know who he opened for. You know, he'd open for, you know, punk bands in the 90s or whatever, 2000s. And, I mean, you want to talk about DIY. Okay, Ashley, I'll see you soon. I don't even know how Neil Hamburger, like, but also, like, I feel like that guy was even just shrewd. You know, like, he wasn't just randomly putting his shit out there. It's like he had like Fred Armisen or something. It's like they were still successful as sort of like indie DIY punk people. You know, even though, yes, Ashley, okay? We're all geniuses here. Everyone is an artistic genius here. And he became like sort of more of a hero, like you said, his prank call album and shit. People like my brother Jack were listening to that kind of shit, rather than, you know, they were listening to punk music and fucking. They weren't listening to Bo Burnham and stand-up comedy and shit. They weren't listening to Mike Birbiglia. You know, they were listening to Neil Hamburger, who was sort of like an Andy Kaufman. I mean, that's kind of how comedy is kind of split. There's like alt comedy, and there's kind of like Andy Kaufman influenced people, like Tim and Eric. Or even Saturday Night Live has some of those people. Who's that guy, Kyle Mooney? He's kind of like that. It's like anti... But, I mean, stand-up comedy, it's just like, Jesus Christ. You just gotta, like... You know, I do think that it is like a craft in a that you have to go deep into, and you have to, like, you're smart about, you're into fine art and stuff like that. So that's kind of an interesting thing, that not a lot of comedians have that sensibility, right? Yeah, Jerky Boys were one of the all-time funniest shit. You know, back when wrestling was good, back when comedy was good. I mean, I hate to say it, but Sam Kinnison's comedy tape from the late 80s is one of the funniest fucking things I've ever heard. Yeah, we know you're into art, Ashley, but it's rarer. Okay. So, you know, how do you incorporate that into it? You know, I mean, with comedy, it's like all these clubs on McDougal and Bleecker and fucking Manhattan clubs, it is really just like this fucking, it's toxic. I can't even believe what goes on in these clubs, to be honest. And like, yeah, Sam Kinison was unbelievable, man. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of reasons. It's just like, you got to spend time alone. You got to spend time, you know, that's why I think poetry is like the great hidden treasure fucking in our culture, because nobody pays attention to it. And it's the perfect workshop for literally any idea, any art form you want to do. I think writing poetry and reading poetry is a great companion, because it's a studio that you can work in with total freedom and permissiveness for free. You know, you can go into a notebook and there's no rules about what you want to write. You know, you don't have to fucking, well, okay, let me ask you, what is it about comedy that is like the ultimate thing? Like, what does that look like? That's like being Louis C.K. or something, and like, I guess just sort of like being a fucking explicator, voice of wisdom for the culture. I mean, to be honest, his show was artistically unbelievably great. You know, you're amazing, Ashley. You know, so it's like the guy, he has a deeper thing going on, even though he's able to sort of like go up on stage and just talk about his sloppy, like stupid, like jack off, you know, man baby problems, which is what people love in comedy. It's like, if you watch his TV show, it's like, it's some of the best filmmaking anybody has done in the last 20 years. And I think it did take him a lot of time. You know, he developed things on Conan, and he would spend his money on his own film projects. It's like, it took him a long time to get to that point, you know. But for me personally, it's like, yeah, Sam Kinison was a preacher, right? It is like the thing that, like, that you do that nobody else does. That's the thing that I've tried to embrace, you know. Like, for me, I really am writing and the projects that I want to write, to be honest. I want to write a sort of lifetime book that's a poem, that's sort of a novel, that's like my life, that's sort of like, you know, Alice Notley just heard my live stream. All right. I went crazy. I was, yeah. Maybe it's Louis C.K.'s eyes. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Ashley just shook Alice Notley's. I mean, yeah. I mean, Alice Notley is a great example of somebody that just like, she's lying. Are you making this up? You're trolling. Alice Notley is a great example of somebody who's prolific and who's dedicated to just like the craft, and who writes book after book of just like their own ideas that are outside the box and completely kind of fully realizing those ideas, you know? And so whatever your idea is, you know, like you're doing your podcast, for me, it's like, I want to distribute my stuff in a DIY kind of person-to-person way. I want it to be immediate. I want to write my poetry everywhere. I don't want it to interrupt my life. You know, I want to capture, you know, life, spontaneity, and the emotion that delivers. You know, because to me, that's like the Valhalla. That's like the fucking city of gold. You know, that's like the fountain of youth. that Cortez was looking for. Like, if you can capture the brilliance that people are able to be off the cuff when they're not being filmed, when it's not scripted, you know, there's so much magic that happens in real life. And so getting things to stick in the poem, you know, and to collage it into sort of like a mental movie that you play in your mind through activating it through reading. I don't want to waste my life. So, you know, it's like by writing it, you're using all of it, and you're writing it twice, because when you're living it, it's kind of this amazing story and creative act. You know, like Ashley just shook Alice Notley's hand, you know. People are on YouTube are uptight. Many streamers get in trouble filming children. Jesus Christ. Okay. Yeah, and so, you know, that's not what they would teach you in college, or that's not like the standard collection that every fucking poet out there is writing. Everyone is packaging their poems into these little page-long things that they can collect into a 60-page book or a 100-page book, or, you know, where there's a beginning and an end in every poem, and you can send it off to a magazine and it's going to get published. Oh, I have a playground. Oh, okay. I didn't even think about that. I mean, there's no children. There's no children over there. Yeah, we got to interview Alice Notley for the live stream. Yeah, see, this is a case in point. Ashley is good at this. We're watching it in real time. Ashley is literally meeting poetry icons. Ashley meeting Alice Notley during the stream is like is like a comedian meeting fucking I don't even know, Steve Martin or something. It's like, it's insane. You know, it's like Alice Notley is probably the best poet alive, to be honest. And so Ashley just is able to meet these people like it's nothing. Whereas for me, it's like I am super nervous, and you know, the narrative now is that I've already like failed. And I don't know, I've just got such a bad reputation with all these people that, all right, now there's music and shit, so maybe we'll move. What time is it? Parents accosted a streamer. Okay. Are you streaming my children? Are you streaming my children? What the hell are you doing filming my children? Lighten up, people. Jesus Christ. No one wants to see your ugly children, okay? Okay, Ashley, we'll see you soon. You go to work now. Goodbye. Goodbye. Good day, sir. Oh my God, there's a Coca-Cola ad for the Marble Universe on this building. See? Everything is ads now, man. No more graffiti. Just paid fucking advertisements everywhere. Why not make it an LCD? You know, we could rotate some ads on there. Get a few different things going on. Okay, Ashley's going to go do some power networking to get further ahead in her career. But she's going to make it look like she's just being friends. And she is. But it's tricky. It's like a Jedi, you know, it's like you have to make friends with these people, but you can't act like you're being opportunistic about it. Which you're, to be honest, you're not. I mean, I'm not. I didn't really want to be friends with these people because I thought it would help my career. I wanted to be friends with them because I thought that they knew what the fuck I'd be talking about. You know, I vibed with the poetry so hard that I was like, these people will understand me. And yet, okay, I don't care. I don't care, Ashley. Ashley's just friends. Yeah, she's just friends with all these powerful people, and yet she doesn't give a fuck at all about, what did you say? You hate everyone, I thought. Isn't that what you said earlier? You said you hate everyone. You hate everyone at the open mic. You hate everyone who's, like, not famous. You know, you hate all the comedians. You hate anybody who's, like, a threat to you. Streamers get in a ridiculous amount of trouble with bystanders. I haven't really, knock on wood, gotten any trouble yet. I have a core belief that stand-up is the purest meritocracy over the course of 20 to 30 years. That's what I'm banking on. that is one reason why I fucking started doing it. Because I was just like, there's a huge audience for this. There's money in this. And it's not just like, I mean, it's not completely about, who your parents were. Like, you have to be able to go out and make the fucking, the audience laugh. And like, the proof is so empirically immediately there. I'm FaceTiming with my mom. And so it's like, you either make people laugh or you don't. It's like, there's immediately, if it worked or it didn't. And, with poetry, it's just like, you can say any goddamn thing, and like, the top 2% of people might know what you're talking about. But then a lot of people might just be like, I mean, it's just like, it's a silent impact. It's an emotional response. Like, you'll feel a response with a poem. You can feel when like it worked. And I think comedy is like highly fucking economized in a way that poetry is just not. I think poetry could be as appealing as comedy is. It's just not really marketed. It's too, they don't, with comedy, I don't know. I think there's some, like, it's not necessarily platitudes, but it's like, you've got to make some kind of point and make people laugh immediately. Poetry is more about, being elusive, being kind of like, unexpected or something. Yeah, I mean, well, that's what's so weird about it, is it's like, it's so fucking popular right now, and yet it's so bad. It's so generic. These guys look generic, they dress generic. I mean, I guess there's an entire population in this country that's like mass produced to receive these ideas. I saw some Chris Rock clip recently on TikTok, I think. And he's always felt racist to me. His thing about, I don't know. I don't even remember what the fuck it was. But, I don't know. Like, there's real truth out there that's not being expressed, I think. Like, especially now, it's just like, so many people are trying to figure out what the fuck is going on with race and gender and, the government and just everything in our fucking society. And, I don't know. To be honest, like, poetry just delivers more. I think, the audience for comedy is like more of a mass audience. They want to see people like Jimmy Kimmel. Even something like Howard, that, to me, those are like the heroes that I have, where it's like, they're able to kind of work on both levels, where they have a mass audience somehow, but they're all, like Bob is somebody like that, where it's like, he doesn't sacrifice anything necessarily to dumb it down. Streamers Network, yeah, I'll be on the Streamer Network. We're streaming live from New York here. How many people are doing that? But yeah, bolster my viewership for a change. Jesus Christ. I need to be the anti-Carl. I need a bolstered viewership so they can hear my esoteric views on... I just think stand-up comedy, it's just like, there's so much fucking opportunity there, but the entire form just needs to be reinvented. And so to go into these clubs where people are just like, they kind of bully you out of there, to be honest. These clubs on McDougal and Bleecker, like, they're very protective. and these comedians are very protective of the stage. You know, they're just kind of, you know, but it's like an insecurity. Like, so many people go up on stage as comedians and they're so insecure, they're so afraid. And, you know, and so when the audience doesn't laugh or this or that, you know, it's like, they're going to attack the audience, you know? And, okay, so let me talk about this, because this was the thing I was going to talk about at the beginning, which is I was accused, now that we're, yeah, it's warfare, exactly. It's mental warfare. That's why I enlisted. That's why I decided to join the fucking party, because somebody's got to get in there and do something liberal and hippie and peaceful and whatever. So anyway, yeah, exactly. Well, it feels like it doesn't have to be. Why are these people, you know, just bodying each other to scare each other off the stage, to scare each other out of the game, I mean, what's fun about that, you know? But, okay, I got 20%, so I'll get off pretty soon. We're almost at 2 minutes. Okay, so, yeah, exactly. Live improvised music. That's what it's about. But there should be live improvised talking. You know, there should be a form that's just talking. It doesn't have to be funny. It doesn't have to be roasting. It doesn't have to be jokes. You know, there's totally an art to the joke. Jokes are like their own form. And I've come into appreciation of that over the last few years. But they're not everything. And they're not even necessarily funny. You know, it's like there's a lot of ways to be funny without jokes. Jokes are kind of like, a lot of times they're not funny. They're just kind of like, oh, maybe even if they're good jokes, like, okay, that was a good joke. Did I laugh? No. It was just a smart joke. Who gives a fuck? Any fucking nerd with a protractor can write a smart joke. But it takes real fucking charisma and spirit to be hilarious. Like Chris Farley. Norm Macdonald, yeah. Well, Norm Macdonald, you could tell, really understood and developed his own, what he wanted to do. You know? He wanted to land hard on these, where the punchline was the same thing as the setup. That's totally a choice that he made, you know? That was unmistakably his. Or Frank Stallone, you know? Head to Austin, sign up for Kill Tony, meet the dogs. I would not make it on Kill Tony. If Kill Tony gave me 3 hours, maybe. I don't think I have a minute of anything that would work on Kill Tony. Yeah, so I was accused of, well, okay, I don't know. I guess people in comedy world think I'm a creep or something, maybe. And I want to sleep with all of the people on the open mic, which, he's the exact words, he wants to cheat on his girlfriend with all of the people from the open mic. Which is absurd. I mean, come on. First of all, no. Okay? Like, we want to promote diverse voices. Okay? Nothing happened. It's not even anything. Nothing happened. But it's like, you know, oh God, I do feel like I'm not able to, like, show people who I really am. You know, it's because it's like they see me, Carlos's fake peen. Okay. Classic. You know, like, I'm just not able to spend time with people, actually become friends, because I'm like, when I'm there at the open mic, I'm running the show and nobody ever sees me at any other time. And so the only interaction these women ever have with me is like, they come out, they do the show, I film them. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I have been doing, is like, I'll do the stream and then I'll take little bits from it. I'm just too lazy to go back and watch it, and I can't watch myself do this for 3 hours. I mean, you know, some days, sometimes it's really good. I'm like, oh yeah, this is good. And other times I'm like, I can't even watch this. All right, I gotta get out pretty soon though. I definitely watch your comedy live streams. Yeah, Peter S., you can be a mod in the comments section of my live streams. I don't even know if I want to go to this fucking reading, to be honest. I'd rather just smoke weed. Oh, it's in the sanctuary, so it's like huge. So I can get lost. The thing is, I'm just too shy. Honestly, I'm just too fucking shy. You know, I'm intimidated by these people. They're my heroes, so I'm shy. You know, sue me. Is that so wrong? You know, really, I'm going to get eaten alive in New York and just die an obscure failure? This is what I mean. It's like you can't afford to be shy. You know, you have to be aggressive, like Ashley. You know, she's pretending like she's just casually made friends with these people, but it's like, you're not just going around allowing anybody to be your friend. But they don't care. They like that about her. You know, they like that she's like already super confident and sure of herself and kind of in command of her boundaries. Whereas I'll be friends with anybody. You know, the more of a fucking loser, probably the better I'll like them. I'm more comfortable around people who are, you know, not threatening, not better than me.
I was like surprised. I was like,
Wow. Okay. So, yeah, nothing happened, but I just don't want. Look. I'm definitely not. I try to get everybody a video of their performance because I want them to have something to take away. You know, if they want to take the video, I never even go back and watch them, to be honest. It's like 4 hours a week. I don't go back and watch that. I already saw it once. I put it online, hopefully to expand the audience so people out in the world can watch it. I don't know if anybody ever clicks the fucking open mic or if it's even watchable because the fucking camera's such a piece of shit, but, I don't jack off to the open mic. Let's say that. I do not go back and watch the fucking MOD file and jack off, okay? I don't look at the pictures and jack off. I'm just trying to build an artistic community where people feel comfortable they can express themselves, okay? All right, I mean, but I'll just say, it's like, if you come to the open mic and you want to perform, it's just like, be nice to the audience. Get them on your side. You know, you don't have to like fucking like try to alpha fucking like slam them down to fucking like, you know, get them to heel or something like you're fucking Bill Maher. Speaking of which, there it is. So I don't know, now that I've got, now that I'm sort of getting paid, I can, I'm going to maybe try to start another thing. I don't know how to be successful. You know, ultimately you have to make things. But now we're like in this weird world where everything is like content, where it's like, okay, if you film yourself talking, that's like just as legit as anything else. You know, edit that, post it, see what happens. It's like, I think there's something to be said for like, you know, you should probably try to learn some other thing too. Learn how to write scripts, write plays, write a novel, write short stories, film. You know, if Louis C.K. was making films, you know, that's what he wanted to do the whole time. You know, you could tell he wanted to be a filmmaker. So for me, it's like, I like doing vlogs now that they're known this way. I like, the way I'm writing. I'd like it to change and develop. You know, I don't just want to do the whole thing, the same thing my whole life. You know, like I'm starting to think, is my poetry form getting tired? But, you know, the thing is, like, you will develop organically. You know, if you're, like, really listening to yourself and what you want to do. Like, look at that Horace and Pete show. You know, you could tell Louis C.K. was probably like, you know, I want to write something that's, like, long and dialogue and, you know, like a fucking, I'm live.
What are you making a video about?
We're talking about how stand-up comedy sucks.
Oh, for sure.
All right.
All right, people, Patrice O'Neal.
All right. They said R.I.P. Patrice O'Neal. Sorry, I would have stopped and talked to them, but I'm going to this thing. R.I.P. Patrice O'Neal. Yeah, so I don't know. You know, it's just like, you know, you're already way ahead. You're young and you're out and you're doing it. You're in the right location. Just keep doing it. You know, you'll get better 2, 3, 4, 5 years. I mean, to be honest, a lot of my poetry until probably 2012 or 2013, I was just developing, right? I didn't write a whole lot that I would even share anymore before that, you know? So it took me, you know, 4 or 5 years to like even get something that was like the beginning of something interesting and original, you know? So it's like, I don't know. The thing is, when you don't spend time with people, when you're not out doing shit and part of the community, people start to talk. They get an opinion in their head about what you are, what you're doing. And, oh God, does this make any fucking sense? Probably not. Ashley is on the live stream while pouring wine. What time is it now? Anyway. You're in the, where are you? You're not in the sanctuary? Where are they pouring wine? Ashley is so iconic. Pouring wine at the Poetry Project while watching Matt Proctor's live stream. Well, he makes no fucking sense about anything he's talking about. Never getting to the point about anything. Oh, okay, 7:37, okay. I don't know. We'll do better next time. We talked about WrestleMania. We talked about the weather's kind of shitty out. Okay. Illustrious Ashley. She's got it figured out. See, they're easy on her. They're not hard on her the same way they are on me. Okay? She doesn't have, you know, almost a decade of weird reputation built up. You know, and she doesn't have 2 decades of failure. Okay, lean into the cultural commentary. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I try to cover everything. I try to cover my personal life. You know, things that are actually happening, and also the bigger picture as well. Lean into your weirdness, my friend. Be yourself. See, that's what everybody says. You know, be yourself. What the fuck does that mean? I am. Oh, there's Burp Castle. Burp Castle is the bar where they shush people. They'll shush you. All right. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, we're just doing our best. I mean, you know, the thing is, like, I wonder if fucking, you know, all of a sudden people gave a fuck about what I was doing. Would I even have anything to show them? What would I do? You know, like if I got to read a poem like on the Tonight Show or something, what the fuck would I even read? I don't have anything that, like, you know, I don't have anything that's like a Beatles song. You know, I don't have anything that's like a 3-minute, like, bam, this is gonna, what's up? Sorry, I'm about to sign off because I'm on 10%, but thank you for tuning in. Hell yeah, be a part of the community. The chat is lit. Ashley's pouring wine. We're over here by McSorley's old ale house. The beginning of something good. Focus on this channel and doing your comedy on here through this medium. All right. Hell yeah. We'll talk about wrestling. That's also a micro niche. Well, that's what they say about like TikTok and other social media stuff is like, you want to be, whatever your like hobby is, you know, you have to, look at these children being indoctrinated at Cooper Union, a huge landlord realtor. What the hell even is all that shit on the board? Yeah, you're supposed to be like hyper niche, you know, you're supposed to like talk about whatever it is that you're passionate about. So like for me, it'd be poetry, I guess. But I don't know. We're all trying to go viral and be artistic at the same time. Is anybody who's a content creator artistic? You know, like, would you consider Casey Neistat to be an artist? We live inside a dream. I can't come to your comedy club where I live, so I need to see it. Yeah, I mean, well, that's the other thing is like we're in a moment where everything is shifting from going, like, you don't need comedy clubs anymore. You know, it's like you can do your act anywhere all day, stream to your audience. So this is something I want to do this summer, right? I'm going to do shows all over the city. I'm going to go to the Brooklyn Bridge and all over the place. Content is not art. There you go. I mean, you know, with my poetry, I try to reflect the fact that we are in a flurry of information. We're in a content age. I think it's an opportunity, you know, like now we're filled with so much data, facts, information, whatever. It's like if that's not in the fucking, God wasted all Casey's creative energy on his face. Okay. Does Casey Neistat have an incredible face? But he was like probably like the vlogger that was like a filmmaker or something, right? I mean, I don't know. I'd like to be John Wilson. You know, I wish the New York Times was just like, this guy's a fucking genius. We love John Wilson. See, the thing about John Wilson is he makes something. It's a half hour. It's a show. They'll put it on HBO. Anybody who watches it is going to be like, wow, this guy's fucking amazing. But it's like, I don't know. I think you need like kind of help to do that. Maybe you need a few different people and you need money. You know, I'm trying to do everything wild. My fucking phone is broken. My friend Eamon gave me the selfie stick. Otherwise, I wouldn't even have it. Oh, the city's getting nice now that it's like sun's going down. All right, I gotta charge my phone. My God, thank you guys for watching. Now that I'm allowing the chat, I've just got all kinds of people. Thank you for being supportive. And yeah, I mean, fuck. I feel like I didn't make my point at all about. I don't know. You know, I thought with like these open mics and these performances, we really could start like a movement across the country. I think this would be a healthy way for people in this country to tap into themselves and tap into local culture, local creativity. And it's happening in Brooklyn, you know, it's amazing. This wildfire of performance and open mics and people starting their own shows and stuff. And, you know, we should have national media attention. You know, the Today Show, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, the New Yorker, they should be doing write-ups about what is going on with these live streams. I mean, geez. Have you watched Matt Proctor's 3.5 hour meandering, mansplaining yap sessions? I mean, Jesus Christ. I don't know. I think, you know, I've heard other podcasts. You know, honestly, what's better than just like listening to your dad tell a story? You know, or listening to your grandparents tell a story. Or that's like, more people should capture that. You know? Yeah, I got to get up to 1K. It's been a long, slow, hard climb to 310. It's taken me almost 20 years on YouTube to get to 310 subscribers. So, that's amazing, though. I feel like the audiences now, they're more into, like, participating. Hell yeah. That's right. Thank you, Peter Shankman. Thank you. All right. Yeah, so I don't know. I was at Best Buy yesterday. They've got all these fucking like kits. You buy a streaming kit. You know, you get like a ring light, you get a microphone. Yeah, let's do it. I'm down. I definitely want to do another sesh for sure. Yeah, now that the weather's getting nice, I'd like to get out more and, you know, expand, do some bigger creative projects, you know. Thanks for watching. You can go back to the beginning. I'm about to run out of battery, so I'm signing off from New York, live. I'll be back on. Now that it's nice out, I'll probably be doing this more while I'm out in the city and stuff. So thank you for the encouragement. It means a lot. And I love you. I love you guys. We'll talk to each other soon. Okay. Have a good night. Check out the poetry live stream. You can check out the Poetry Project's YouTube page. I'm not streaming it. I'm not working, but it should be a good reading. So check out Poetry Project on YouTube. Yeah, it's definitely worth listening to. All right.